And we're back! You only missed a click. I, for some reason, got a little excited and clicked before I hit record. But all I did was go to the next room, and I used my steering stone. So here we are, we're going into Priyan! 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 Ooh, it's filled with trees. Your ship arrives over a field of green, trees large enough to hold cities. One of them has a flat area just big enough to land the ship on. But something else has caught your eye, a glowing crystal city nestled in the carpet of vegetation. You decide to investigate and land the ship in the clearing nearby. Okay. Let's go out. Ooh, a flower. I took it. The plant isn't particularly interesting except for its bright pink flowers. Oh, citadel. Although the citadel appears to be one building, it's the size of a city. Crystal spires tower over the high wall which surrounds whatever lies within. The trees of Priyan are beautiful. From a distance, they look normal. I'm gonna, you know what? I just decided something. I'm gonna have Lord Zar narrate all of this stuff. So, the trees of Priyan are beautiful. From a distance, they look normal, if somewhat lush. Closer inspection reveals that they are many times their normal size. Some of them actually reach miles in height. So now we've got, like, documentary voice Carl Sagan. You stand outside the huge Sartan edifice. You stand outside the huge Sartan edifice. A wall surrounds it. There are no obvious doors, only the alcove to the south. So I can't go in, obviously. Oh wait, what? You can't get inside the citadel for as long as that wall blocks your way. I can go around the left side. A strange animal, seated on the ground in front of a bush, startles at your entrance and leaps onto a branch. A tree grows in the middle of a patch of nut-bearing bushes. On a branch, an animal perches, watching you. The animal most resembles a cross between a squirrel and a monkey. Under a coat of thin fur, a sleek muscles move as it sways back and forth on its branch. You get the impression that it could prove quite formidable if provoked, despite that there's nothing threatening about its manner. In fact, it seems to be alternating between wary curiosity and hunger. Its eyes travel back and forth between you to the bushes of nuts. Okay. I can take a shell. You sift through the pile of shells and finally select one that's to your liking. Can I take a nut? One of the nuts pulls away from its stalk rather easily, leaving behind a hole in the shell where the stalk was attached. Okay. Can I give the nut to the monkey? You toss the nut up to the animal perched on the branch. A lightning-quick claw snatches the nut from the air. The animal tucks it close to his furry body and inserts two pointy talons into the hole in the shell. With a crack, the nut breaks open. Even from here, you can smell the explosion of a rich, nutty aroma coming from the exposed nut meat. The animal carefully sniffs the interior of the nut. Then, when it appears satisfied, eats the meat in a few quick bites. It discards the shell onto the pile of like shells and settles back down on the branch to rest. The nuts are larger than any you've seen before, about the size of a human head. Each of them grow from bushes that surround the trees. Each nut is attached to the bush by a thick stalk. Take a nut. Okay. So we can feed this squirrel monkey, nuts. Exactly why we would want to do that is currently ambiguous. Can I put marmalade on it? You smear... Oh, I can. You smear a little marmalade in and on the shell. Now it's all sticky. Yuck. Okay. Actually looks surprisingly similar to this. You drip a little of the salve into the nuts, but nothing happens. Considering that the salve was designed to heal severe wounds, this should come as no surprise. Alright. Alright. I don't know what we're trying to accomplish with this, so I'm gonna back off. You stand at the edge of a thick forest. An old hollow tree stump sticks out of the ground. Oh, 1 second. I should look at this door first. The shallow recess is in the shape of a sword. The shallow recess has the shape of a staff. Shallow recess is in the shape of a hammer. It doesn't look like a door. It is more like a wall containing indentations of 3 different shapes. One resembles a hammer, another a sword, and the final one a staff. You stand outside the huge Sartan edifice. A wall surrounds it. There are no obvious doors, only the alcove to the south. Okay. Wait, can I? Yeah, okay. Look at this stump. The stump has been dead for a long time. Little holes in the wood show that it is hollow. One twisted branch sticks out in an odd angle to the front. It's hard to click on this branch. The stump only has 1 branch and is rather oddly shaped. It sticks out from the front at a curious angle. Put. I want to like push on the branch. Okay. I was thinking it might be like a secret thing. Is there anything here that looks kind of interact with the branchy sort of way? Guess not. The forest is thick and tall, allowing scant sunlight to break through. Something about it makes you uneasy. You could swear you see the trees move, but when you examine them closely, they remain still. Let's go. The forest is unnaturally still. There are no sounds of birds or animals. There is no wind. Hello, Titans. Hidden among the trees, you catch only fleeting glimpses of the giants. They look human, though with 3 major differences. They stand about 20 feet high, they lack hair, and they have no eyes. Okay. I was thinking I needed to like throw a nut to distract them. Am I gonna die if I go forward? You start to wander deeper into the forest when something very large, something you thought was a tree, moves threateningly toward you. You stumble backwards to where you started, and the motion stops. Okay. Okay. If I recall the details about them, they are blind, and you need a song to control them. Okay. And I think there was another area that it would let us land at. Tree City, yeah. Oops. What is this? Tree City, Tree City. Giant trees support your ship over unseen ground, far below. Bushes! Foliage covers almost every surface. Most of the plants resemble conventional bushes. This is a clear, flat area nestled amidst the branches of this giant tree. You see another tree over a narrow but deep drop. What's this clothesline? Oh, I can take the clothesline. Cool. You untie the thick clothesline and coil it up as you take it. Far tree? Another giant tree stands very close to this one. You see a small garden in its niche. At approximately the same level as this clearing. It looks almost close enough to jump to, but not quite. A branch from the far tree extends over the chasm between the 2 trees. Ah, we're gonna have to tie a rope to this or some such garbage. No. I wanted to use it as like a grappling hook. That was the idea. Okay. Let's go on the door here. The chamber appears natural, as if the wood of the tree grew with this space in mind. You step into the middle of a busy kitchen, but on your arrival all noise and movement suddenly cease. 3 pairs of eyes lock onto you. 2 elven women halt their conversation, and a child drops her broken doll and simply stares. The heavier woman wearing an apron looks you over critically.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
I'm just here to help you do whatever it is you're doing.
I thought so. Humans only come here when they're looking for a handout, or they need work. Well, it happens that I'm short-handed right now. Are you willing to work?
Sure, I'll give it a try. What do you need me to do?
I'm glad to hear it. I'm so behind just now that I would welcome anyone's help, even from a human refugee. The king has decided to throw a party with his usual 2-hour notice. Get over to the counter and start netting that dough. Let's see if you can handle that task before we move you on to anything more complicated.
You wedge over to the counter, pick up the lump of dough, and half-heartedly begin to knead it. While you're doing this, the cook resumes her flurry of activity, continuing the conversation with the other woman as if there had been no interruption. She hurries about the room, tending to several tasks at once. At the same time, she not only manages to keep up her end of the running conversation, but the serving girl's side as well.
I'm worried about the children. I don't have a problem with them playing together, but the royal prince has begun to join in. There are human children in that group. You watch. Nothing good can come of that.
She glances your way and adds,
No offense, you understand. Anyway, I've saved the worst for last. There's a human adult out there. He's talking with the children, putting all sorts of ideas in their heads. Ideas about all of the races living together, treating each other as equals. Can you believe it? Ridiculous. Rumor has it that he's a wizard. A child describes some of his spells, and they're like nothing we've ever seen. In fact, the spells weren't even similar to any of those cast by the humans. Either this human is the most powerful to come along, or he's a member of a different race entirely. Wouldn't that be exciting?
So he's like a patron or a sergeant? The serving woman gently interjects.
Maybe the child was exaggerating. You know how imaginative they can be.
The cook looks down at the small girl on the ground.
Of course, that's true. Those children can come up with some wild ideas. Still, it would have been exciting.
You notice that the small elf child on the floor has been watching you with wide eyes and an unreadable expression. After a moment, she returns to playing with the battered, pathetic doll. She holds the doll above the floor and tries to make it walk around, but the fact that the doll is missing its head and a leg seems to make the experience less enjoyable than it should be. After a few moments, she drops the doll on the floor and sighs dejectedly. I got something for you, little girl. The child looks at the toy in your hand and smiles. She throws aside the broken doll as she jumps up, claps, and runs over to grab the better toy. She turns it around in her hands and laughs happily.
You're nice. I like you. You have to meet my friends.
The child grabs your hand and starts to drag you outside.
Come on, let's go.
She runs outside and beckons you to follow. Okay, I guess I'll go outside. The cook pulls a tray of sweet cakes from the oven. The aroma makes your mouth water. A loud buzzing draws your attention to a small window. You see a nasty-looking insect about the size of your fist, flying into the kitchen, also attracted by the sweet smell. The serving maid screams and puts herself as far from the bug as she can. Only the cook manages to remain calm. As the insect hovers over the cakes, she pulls out an ugly yellow flower from an apron pocket and crushes it in her hand. She unfolds her fingers and the room is suddenly filled with a horrible odor. The odor makes you feel somewhat queasy, but it seems to have a more substantial effect on the insect, which darts back out the window.
It must be bug season again. Those terrible insects are such a bother. Every time I make something sweet, they show up, seemingly out of nowhere. On one occasion, I was actually stung by one of them. I was in bed for a week.
The serving woman slowly begins to relax.
These petals should do the trick of keeping them away today. But this is my last plant. I'm going to have to get the children to start harvesting the stinkweed again.
What was that bug?
Their hives appear during every harvest season. The insects that live with them usually leave us alone unless they are angered or they smell something sweet. That drives them crazy. I always keep some stinkweed around just in case.
Why does the flower drive off the insect?
As much as the bugs are drawn to the sweet smells of my cooking, they are repulsed by the smell of stinkweed. Actually, stinkweed isn't all that bad until you crush the petals, but you'd best be as far away from it as you can get.
Where do you find that yellow plant?
I'm not sure. The plant grows wild in bunches, but it's difficult to find. I have all the children out searching for it, and since I reward their finds with sweets, the plant is in high demand. Whenever it's discovered in the wild, the children return with as much as they can carry. They practically drool over that patch growing on the nearest tree, but no one can get to it.
May I have one of those cakes?
Absolutely not. I'm preparing these cakes for the king's party.
You mean it's going to smell like that in here all day? I think I'm done with this dough. You see, all nice and kneaded.
Well, you've done a pretty poor job on the dough, but I don't think I'm going to get much better out of you. Leave then. I don't blame you for wanting to get away from the stinkweed.
So that's the cook. Can I talk to her? The serving girl is too engrossed, and the cooks chatter to pay attention to you. Anything else in here that's relevant? Oven? You don't quite understand how an oven, grown into the wooden wall of a tree, isn't a fire hazard. The warmth flowing from it makes the room a little uncomfortable. On a tray inside, you see a pile of golden sweet cakes. How do I get a sweet cake? Dough. I can eat it. You try pounding on the dough for a while, but that doesn't do very much for its consistency. You're not very good at this. Eat it. You try to sneak a taste of the dough, but the cook sees you and yells until you put the sample back. The dough just comes up in a sticky, stringy segments. None of it actually separates enough for you to take it. This only proves... Carl Sagan jumped out my throat there. How bad you are at your job of dough kneader. Okay. Fair enough. Let's go see what the little girl has to show us. The elf child is here, tapping your foot impatiently. I didn't think you'd ever...
I didn't think you'd ever get here. Come on, let's go.
It's through here?
It's through here.
She wriggles through a clump of bushes to the east. So there's now a new way to go. You come upon a group of children gathered at the ledge. They're calling to someone below. One smaller child is crying. When you glance over the edge, you see a young elf trapped on a lower edge, trying, without much success, to climb back up. The small elven girl tugs your shirt sleeve.
These are my friends. That doorknob down there is the prince. I guess he's finally got enough courage to go after the golden staff. He's been talking about it for long enough.
Excuse me.
It doesn't look like he made it very far, though.
That's the elf prince? Children. You can't attract the attention of any of the children. They're too busy playing their own games. Ma? The branch you stand on overlooks a kind of pit, ringed with similar trees. Not even sunlight makes it down to the bottom. You have no idea how deep it is, but if it extends all the way to the ground, you imagine that it could go on for miles. Alright, rope. You lower one end of the clothesline to the struggling prince. He grabs hold of it and gratefully, and you haul him up.
Oi, thank you, sir, for coming to my aid.
He glances around at the audience of children, puffs himself up and adds,
I would have made it out eventually by myself, but your help sped things up quite a bit.
He smiles a little sheepishly.
I am at your service, sir. Anything I can do for you, I will.
So, why did you climb down there? Not the smartest thing in the world to do.
I know. It's a long story. I was searching for the staff. I figured that I wanted it more than anyone who had gone before me. It turns out that I had much more enthusiasm than ability.
Enthusiasm won't help you climb down a tree that is many miles high.
The prince grimaces.
I found that out. Oh, my father forbade me to go after the staff. Too many of my ancestors entered the maw and never returned. I guess he knew what he was talking about.
Staff? What staff?
I guess everyone isn't familiar with the legend, but I'll tell it to you. Ages and ages ago, the gods gave 3 items to the races. To the dwarves they gave a golden hammer. To the humans they gave a golden sword. And they gave us a golden staff. It wasn't as cool as the sword or the hammer, but we were happy for a while. The items were supposed to symbolize the race's roles in a new unified society. The dwarves were to be the workers, the builders. That's what the hammer represented. The humans were supposed to be the protectors. Hence the sword, because people stabby with it. We elves were the scholars, the leaders. Oh, we were so cool. But of course, I guess it didn't work out that way. We live in trees and eat cake. After one of the ancient wars with the humans, my ancestor rebelled against the symbolism of the staff. He cursed the idea of living and working with the other races, so he took the staff and cast it into the maw, never to be seen again. He did it in the heat of anger, and soon regretted it. The staff represented more than just the ancient legends. It was also a symbol of leadership. Without it, he chanced losing his power. So my ancestor climbed down into the maw to reclaim the staff. He never returned. Since then, members of the royal family have sought the staff. Every few generations, an elf will climb down into the maw, but not one has ever made it back. We don't even know what's at the bottom. We only know that there is solid ground, and the only way is in a straight ground down. We call it the maw because it swallows up anything that enters it.
How could anything be worth risking your life like that?
Naturally, I wanted to regain the staff for my people. My father would be so proud of me. They would write songs about me. I would have done what all of my ancestors failed to do. Don't you think that's enough?
He looks at you a little desperately.
Of course. Why else would you have done it?
The small elven girl carrying your doll speaks up. What was her?
I'll tell you why. He wants to impress his girlfriend. That human, isn't that right?
She crosses her arms and looks smugly at the prince. The prince glares at the child and says,
I guess there happens to be someone that I like. And she does happen to be a human.
Who is this girl?
She's beautiful. She's a hunter. She's a musician. She's a mess. She's a 7. She's a leader. What does that song go?
Is that the... She's a witch. She's a fighter. She's a something. She's a loser. I don't know. But yeah, I don't remember the lyrics. The I think the song's called "She's a Bitch." Who's the artist? I'm terrible with names recently. She's a bitch. She's a... Anyway, it doesn't matter.
She's everything I ever wanted. And not only is she human, but she's a princess as well. And she doesn't even know that I exist. Now without the staff, I never get the chance. A human? Won't your father be a bit angry with your choice? I don't care! At least she's royalty. My father would learn to accept it. He has to. How would possessing the staff help you get this girl? The humans believe that the items from the gods are symbols of rulership. Every human leader since the beginning has carried a golden sword. The current monarch, the princess's father, has been ill for some time. While he is incapacitated, she has accepted the responsibility of rulership. With it, she has taken the sword.
She sounds cool.
She takes her station very seriously, and she'll only consider a suitor of equal status. Because the humans equate rulership with the possession of the godly items, she won't even look in my direction if I don't have the staff.
Where did you meet her?
I met her at one of our gatherings. Lately, she's been coming to hear the wizard speak. I think she's interested in his message of racial harmony. In fact, she'll be coming to a meeting tonight. I was hoping to have the staff by then. Ah, well.
That's all there is to it? You get the staff and it gets you the girl?
Well, not quite. I have to earn her respect, and I'll never get it without the staff. After that, I'm not sure what to do. I think I have to soften her up somehow. Maybe I need something pretty to give her. Even if I do get in her good graces, I won't know what to say. I'm so awkward around ruling princesses. I always get tongue-tied whenever I talk to her. I just don't know the right words. I think if it had something nice to give her, and the right words to say, I'd have a chance.
Let me get this straight. You need the staff,
The right words, and a pretty present. Sounds like you've been thinking about this for quite a while. Or you're a character in a graphic adventure game. One of the two. Forever! Oh my god, forever! I had a crush on her since I was 4 years old. I decided that if I couldn't have her, I didn't want to go on living. That's why I tried to get the staff. If I didn't make it, I'd be at least out of my misery.
Okay. Oh, what is this place?
This is the maw. Called that because anything that goes in gets swallowed up. It's a sheer drop, ringed by trees on all sides. The only way to the bottom is straight down. It's an evil place. I'll never go near it again.
You're at my service, eh?
Yes, sir. I'll do anything within reason. Answer any questions you may have. You look new to this land. I'd be glad to help you out.
You're the prince of the elves?
Yes, I am the heir to the throne. My father is the ruler of all elves on Brienne. But if he knew what I'd done, I'd never see the light of outdoors again.
Do you know anything about a big ancient building? It has a door with 3 symbols on it.
An ancient building? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Perhaps the wizard can help you. He's been around forever.
Have you met this human wizard who supposedly talks to children?
Of course. His name is Zifnab. He's a human, but he's the strangest, weirdest, most funky human I've ever met. Though, admittedly, I haven't met all that many. He resembles you somewhat, but in place of your black hair with white tips, he has white hair with black tips. Do you know him?
He's a Sartan. Oh, old Sivnab? Sure, known him for years. He's one of my kind.
You say Zivnab is one of your kind? That's strange. He said that he was the last on the planet. Although that doesn't really make any sense either, because there are humans everywhere. Come to think of it, much of what he doesn't make sense.
He looks you over and adds,
One thing he's been adamant about is keeping out of the way of the adults. He claims that they'll keep him away from us. Would you do that?
Why would I do that?
The other adults claim that we should stop listening to him.
My wrong voice.
The other adults claim that we should stop listening to him. That he's a bad influence. The things he says about racial harmony are compost.
Is that an insult?
I can't believe that. Much of what he says makes sense. At least when he's coherent.
He pauses, then says,
You saved my life, but I can't let you near him. If you would try to keep him away from us, would you do that?
Of course not. He sounds harmless enough. The prince lets out a relieved breath.
I'm so glad. I would really like you to meet him. He does the most spectacular tricks. Even when we don't understand half of what he says, he's always entertaining. If you'd like, I can lead you to the meeting place. There's a gathering tonight.
All right, let's go.
Very good. The meeting should be fun, even though I didn't get the staff.
He sighs.
Please, follow me.
He wanders off into a shaded grove to the southeast. Let's go meet Asartan. As you stroll into the clearing, you notice the children scurrying around, preparing the area. Some gather wood and for a fire pit in the center. The remainder relax around the pits, on the ground or on a log lying nearby. The prince collapses on the log, looking miserable. Others glare at him as they do their work, but say nothing. The small girl carrying your doll says,
He's just upset.
I had a voice for her.
He's just upset because his girlfriend is coming and he didn't get the golden staff to impress her.
Elf child. The elf child ignores you. Elf prince? White disc? A couple of boys approach the fire pit containing a cumbersome papery hive between them. They dump it into the hole. When the hive strikes the ground, the crash causes the others to jump back in surprise. Don't worry, one of them says. It's dead. Not a live bug in it. Lucky for us, he chuckles. The other boy wipes his hand on his pants and says, You don't know half of it. My cousin tried to light one of them up when live bugs were still using it. He should have seen him afterward. He almost died. Well, it's better than... Okay. Well, it's better than carting around a bunch of wood. These hives burn better than anything I've ever seen, and they're much lighter. Besides, I've kept my eye on this one for the last week. It's as dead gets, the boy says. The two boys return to the bushes, looking for twigs. Okay. What is this white disc? A white disc has been embedded in the ground. The surface is smooth and metallic and glows with magic. Identify. Interesting. Take. You can't pry it up. They're like about to light this on fire. The heck is this white disc? You set the shear onto the disc, but nothing happens, so you pick the shear back up. One child sprinkles dried moss around the massive hive as others sit around the pit. I have a feeling this is about to kill us all. You can't attract the attention of any of the children. They're too busy playing their own games. A child strikes a piece of flint against a flat rock she holds. The sparks fall into the dried moss and the hive. Immediately, the hive explodes into flame, and the children applaud. Okay. We'll take a break here. I wonder if we missed something there. Maybe we'll find out at some point. But we'll take a break here. See y'all in a bit.